Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sharona.
Good morning, Tamar and everyone.
And today we're going to illuminate the path regarding deception.
So we take a few minutes of silence first of all. In this silence, I exercise my ability to turn my awareness within. It means I disconnect myself from all the stories, people, situations, my reactions. I disconnect from all of that and I connect to another part of myself, one which is free, independent from my habits, especially emotional habits. I reach another level of consciousness, separate, independent, and I am free, free to enjoy my original, inherent goodness, a gentle quiet all around, peace. This experience refreshes me, and I'm ready to come back to the consciousness of the physical and take up life from a new energy. And today's thought, it's not so much a full thought as it is a kind of teaser. Thought for today is the great deception, or you could say the great deceiver. What would you say is the great deceiver creating such deception in our life?
I would say that our mind, our consciousness, which is usually limited by a lot of sentences we heard over the years,
Oh,
or experiences, or fears, a lot of things that block us. And as I always say, they make us much smaller than we actually are. We know
that,
that we know that when we do our best, we're like about 30% of what we can really do. So we have
right.
so much power in us, but we don't see it.
That's right. It's so true. I really like the way you put it because it's very, very practical. They say we're not using 90% of our mind. Yeah, I remember that. That's probably the only thing I remember from elementary school. It really struck me. I was always wondering when would I get the education that would give me the other 90%? Always, I wondered. When I started my spiritual studies, I had my answer. Okay, I'd like to share a story in order to answer my own question. It's a story of Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who lived next to the Smith family. The Smith family is their neighbor. Every day, Mrs. Jones is looking out of her big living room window and seeing the children of the Smith family and shockingly exclaiming to her husband how filthy these children look. Does their mother never wash their face? Does their mother never give them a bath? And then look at the clothes. Does their mother never wash the clothes? So on and on, judgment about the Smith mother, the Smith family, on and on, commenting, criticizing. So one day the husband had enough of it and said, "You mean you're talking about the Smiths, our neighbors' children?" And Mrs. Jones says, yeah, just take a look. So he comes over to the window and he takes a look and he says, "Honey, the children are fine. Your window is dirty." Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. No, I know about the story. It's a similar one about somebody who's trying to clean her mirror. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's
yeah.
kind of the picture. So what are the windows of the soul?
That's an easy one, isn't it, guys?
The eyes. That's right, the eyes. And so it could be that these eyes are creating the greatest deception for me. Because if I closed my eyes, shut my ears, blocked my nose, and moved through life like that, what would happen is that there would be much, much less triggering what's sitting there in my programmings and conditionings. So my past habits, the influences on me, emotional habits, programs, conditionings, these like have dirtied my windows. And so I'm not seeing anything as it really is. Nothing.
But saying, walking with your eyes closed, your ears, kind of feels to me like telling that lady to put down the drapes.
Mm.
And I think, we want to, it's, of course, it's our senses that brings us what's in the outside. But I would say, wouldn't you say that what's inside is the real trigger? Because, we can see a lot of things from outside, depends on how they influence me and
It,
what I do with
yeah.
them.
It's the same thing, basically. In other words, it's those programmed, conditioned habits,
Yeah.
emotional or whatever, that have colored my perception. So, in other words, it's just a piece of chocolate cake sitting there, but I see it as the perfect stress reliever. And I reach for it and I eat it, even though I'm on a diet. I've promised the doctor no more sugar, and I know it's really bad for me. But I think it's worth it. It's okay just this once. Deception. Deception. Now, that's a very vanilla kind of example, very innocent. But it goes from there to somebody walks through the office door, and this person has so much annoyed me with her controlling behaviors, and I'm practicing tolerance. I'm practicing being able to manage, move with it. But she walks in, and sure enough, the first thing she says is such a controlling kind of thing. Um, so my perception of that moment has been completely false. Because, firstly, that's not a person who irritates me. That's just a person playing her part. I have programmings and conditionings of irritation. If I'm irritated by people who have controlling behaviors, it's probably because I have them myself, or I had them and they're not completely cleaned out. That's the true perception, but I don't see that. I think she's irritating me when all she's doing is showing me something inside me that would be good for me to work on. So the eyes deceive us, not to mention the fact that once we really get into the practice of going inwards and relating to my better self, that energy, spiritual being that I am, and I experience how my own truth has been so much compromised by all my programmings and conditionings, which I've put in there. And I start to experience the original blueprint of myself, that peace, that love, then I'm beginning to forgive myself. I'm beginning to have compassion for myself. I'm beginning to be quite patient with myself when I get stubborn or controlling. I understand what's going on. And when that's happening enough of the time, that person will walk through the door and I will start feeling also compassion, mercy. This person, because that's the true perception, this person isn't really controlling. Those are programmings and conditionings she's picked up along the way, but she can do better. And she is best and better. And maybe just me staying in my best and better can offer some power for her to upgrade her game.
I just want to, you're putting it very beautifully and emerging our inner truth. We're trying to evoke or emerge our inner truth inside. But I do want to add that sometimes, or understanding your limits, even though we're talking a lot about limitless but understanding your limits and putting your boundaries in a respectful way respects you.
Absolutely.
And I had some connections not connections, discussions in the past few days, and I've noticed people started putting their boundaries very strong, but very respectfully. That was very nice.
That's very nice.
Because each one knows what he's accepting and what he's not.
Yeah.
And it's okay for the other one to decide what he does in this situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
So I have to
totally
say,
agree.
it's not always changing inwards. I think that's just the point I wanted to add. It's not always changing inwards. Sometimes the change will be outside. Because a lot of the times people say, I'll just work with my mind. No,
No.
80%, 90% work with your mind, or clean your glasses.
Yeah, that's it.
You reminded me, my husband was trying to look at the menu and he said, I need glasses. The lighting here is not good. The light is not good. And then he said, oops, it's only helpful. He cleaned his glasses and he said, oh, now the lighting is better.
Exactly. This is what we're talking about.
So most of the time it is just cleaning our eye.
Most of the time, it is just a matter of good lighting.
Yeah, good lighting. But it still means when we're saying good lighting, it shines inwards and outwards. And it
This,
doesn't mean that we need to control or surrender to what's going on outside. We
no,
have a free will to choose. Just,
this is kind of like the epitome of a healthy spiritual study, I feel. Everything is a matter of balance on a spiritual path. To say that it would always be an issue of changing something in me would pull us way out of balance. Because the whole purpose in cleaning my windows or cleaning my glasses is so that I can respond in the most powerful way, which is beneficial, not just for the other person, but for myself. Not just for myself, but for the other person. Very, very important. I'm not cleaning my glasses so that I'm improving some isolated self somewhere disconnected from reality, my responsibilities, and my relationship. But it's this kind of cleaning which is going to allow me to come up with the most appropriate and accurate response powerfully, more and more naturally.
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, I see it, this is not good, I'm annoyed, it's probably my own stuff, I'm also controlling, what should I do? I should X, Y, Z. No, more and more naturally, I see what's going on. And I can set those borders and there'll be the respect. And then it'll work. The sign is that it works.
Yeah.
It might take time, but it works. At least the person is not offended, or even if they are, I know in my heart of hearts that I was not offensive. I was just taking care of myself. That's legal.
Yeah. And I think I would say my practice, and you said until it becomes like naturally. So until it becomes, because yes, when you walk the spiritual path, it becomes more and gradually it becomes naturally. But until then, I think one of the, you talked about the Great Deceiver today. And my thought is I use it as a tool sometimes when I react. What I measure to myself is how clean this reaction was.
That's
and if it wasn't, check. It's not always easy to do it by yourself. Sometimes I think I speak to other if I can't fix, but if I just feel even slightly that it wasn't clean, then look at that reaction and check what can you clean there. And I think knowing or feeling when you're deceived, and I'm talking when I say deceived, I mean it's not clean. My reaction, it doesn't matter at all what happened. My reaction was not 100% clean, and it's a lot of the time it's not.
Right.
Then there is a deceiver there, and that's a great tool to understand it and feel it, feel when it happens, or see when it happens if anyone has its own tools, and check what you can do about it. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Basically, what we're saying is that we have to be careful because, all this fake news going on the internet, in a flash, my relationships and my responsibilities can all be presenting themselves not as they really are. And if I don't have a habit of watching myself carefully, I'm going to be deceived. And I will be reacting and I will justify it and everything will continue to go downhill. So these mechanisms you're talking about are to stop any downhill spiral in my relationship with myself or with others.
Exactly. And a good question would be, is that so? You talked about the media and everything. Every time you're not sure about something or your feeling is not correct, not, even regarding a conversation or something you say to yourself, just add a question mark. Is that so?
Yeah.
And other options.
That's right. And actually could also be anytime you're in emotional pain.
Yeah.
Just look at it and check the way you're seeing it. Is that so?
Yeah. So,
and on that note,
yeah,
let's get into those true clean glasses, which face us inwards. Imagine such a pair of glasses, which positions me beautifully to see my inherent self, my intrinsic self, the beautiful, divine child of the ocean of light ocean of peace. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much, Sharona.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
See you
We'll see you
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.